Good morning and welcome to Mayor's Weekly. Pleased to have you with us today, and I can't recall exactly what day from a calendar perspective when summer arrives, but I'm convinced it's arrived this week. And I hope you're managing through this heat wave in a satisfactory manner. I know it's been challenging for a lot of folks, challenging for our folks that work out on our streets and that sort of thing, but maybe the heat will subside in a few days and things will get back to normal. Joining me today is Mike Putman, and what we're going to talk about this morning are two or three things that fall under the broad umbrella of notching it up for Jasper, and that's something with Mike out front. His board of directors at Main Street has done a tremendous job for Jasper over the last 5 or 6 years, and been a contributor to much of what's happened in a positive way in this city, and my enthusiasm grows every day as we think about what we can accomplish going forward with the relationship that the city has with Main Street and their enthusiasm, as I said, notching it up for Jasper. Mike, why don't we kick it off talking about promoting Jasper, and you can hit me with time frame, but I want to say 2 years ago, and I think your fingerprints were on this endeavor. The city council approved some money, my recollection, maybe $50,000, to put together a video that depicted life in Jasper, and we targeted a market, that being in Jefferson County, for that video to run, and we drew a lot of praise for that. Reached a lot of people, and I'm not sophisticated enough to know how you measure all those things, but I could understand it well enough to know that we connected with a lot of people. And it was about 2 years ago, and I think that happened under the city's umbrella pretty much entirely with your providing guidance. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Right. And based on that good experience, and then along comes COVID, and everything grinds to a halt, and we decided we need to continue this. The council says we'll provide more money. And as we thought through this, so we felt like the smart way to approach this time is to allow this promotion of Jasper under the Main Street umbrella and at the direction of Mike. And
what makes a home home? You need culture and the arts to create a beautiful canvas, industry and commerce to build a thriving business community, faith and family to keep us all connected, and at the end of the day, places to kick back and recharge. In Jasper, Alabama, we're blessed to have all of this. Our leaders have laid out a strong path for our future, and our quality of life assures us an even brighter one. So, what makes a home? We do. Jasper, Alabama. Welcome home.
And that video is going right now on ABC 3340. There's some Spectrum ads also, and there's some Channel 42 things going on during the World Games to bring day trips to Jasper. Not just to downtown Jasper, but to the city of Jasper.
So people hope to have an opportunity to see this. I think we'll have there'll be sufficient frequency that you'd have a good opportunity.
Oh, absolutely, on those three mediums. Also, media outlets. Also, it's, it runs on our Facebook page, and it runs on the city's website and our website and the Facebook page, along with television and cable.
And Mike, I know this because I could see it close up. This video didn't just happen. You didn't get together one morning and have the video in place that afternoon. How long have you been working on this, Mike? I know you put lots of hours into it and deciding the makeup, and had some great folks to work with at 42 and maybe even outside of that that I'm not aware of.
Well, Renee and I talked to Rich, who was the producer, and Rich has done our videos before, so he knew the highlights of downtown, but I'm not sure he knew the highlights of the city.
Yeah.
So we just went through, we picked out some sites on Highway 78. We picked out some sites on I-22, and we picked out sites downtown too. But it took 2 to 3 months of filming, editing, going back and saying, you know, that's not quite right, or that's not what I want that to look like, or that's perfect, and then he came up with we have a 15-second spot and a 30-second spot that you'll see on those stations, and you'll see on social media.
Well, and the edited version of that was put back past the folks that are in it to look at for
Absolutely.
their comments, that sort of thing. You didn't some high-handed thing, I like this or whatever. You let everybody that had been a participant in that or is a participant in that to offer their comments before
I did.
it went it hit the street, so to speak.
I did, because the city funded it, and then I got other funders, Community Foundation, the Realtors. Oh my gosh, there's two more. I'm going to forget them now.
Chamber, yeah.
Thank you, the Chamber. Oh, and JIDB.
Right, yeah.
They all helped fund it too. Of course, the city was the biggest funder, but it was when I got it, the edited version, I sent it to all of those entities. Is this what you wanted your money to go toward? And they all agreed, and they liked it, because I knew they would like it, because not because I did it, but because I hired somebody way smarter than me to do it.
Yeah. Mike, you know where I came from before I got here, and I know a little something about money, and I know in most cases people evaluate the value of something based on what was invested in it or cost or whatever, and this was not a dime store production. What kind of money was put into this, Mike? Roughly.
The
$66,000. So top drawer production. Now the target is, as we did 2 years ago. I think we targeted Jefferson County, the 280. Is that the same?
Absolutely, it is the same. You know, we are 30, and I know this, we're 38 minutes from downtown to downtown Jasper to downtown Birmingham. It's a perfect destination for boutiques. You know, and we have the premier men's store in downtown, but also we have all kinds of good things. I mean, on Highway 78 and I-22, go buy a car. You know, you have all kinds of things, and not to mention living here with the educational system, top notch, Jasper City Schools. But we're targeting people to come during the day, but we're also targeting people to live. But that's where the realtors came in, and it's perfect timing because of that subdivision going in. I don't know what that's called, beside the high school.
Right.
So,
well, Mike, what's contributed to the success that we experienced in the last few years? Just yesterday, I was out in Viking Cove and looking at the residential construction that's going there, and the person that was riding with me, I said, what I can tell you based on my long tenure in the banking business, very rarely do you run in. There have been some dumb lenders that lend substantial amounts of money, and very rarely do you find dumb folks that have the ability to borrow a lot of money.
Right.
And you go out there and you look at the construction that's going on. If you have an opportunity, you ought to go see that. It's unprecedented in the city of Jasper. And Mike, I think it's reasonable. I've said this before, sitting right at this table, that the absorption rate of these houses are unbelievable to the developers, and I don't think it's all Jasper folks moving up or didn't have a house or whatever. Right. I think we're attracting folks from other areas. Would that be reasonable to think that, Mike?
I absolutely believe it. And all of Jasper and downtown, again, it's a place where you want to be. It's a place where you want to walk to. As we increase the walkability with John Creek, we're targeting other people, and other people are coming here. You know, ladies can spend all day here going to the 5 boutiques that we've got. You know, that's just one thing they can do downtown, besides all the restaurants. But yeah, targeting those people, yes. You see people. I was in Warehouse 319 the other night. I didn't know a soul in there. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And 2 weeks ago, Mike, I was at a class reunion. I graduated high school at Winfield, 35 miles west of here, And one of my classmates said, he was talking about how much they liked down Jasper, and they said, whose idea was it to have music? And I said, our Main Street director, Mike Putman, and I said, good ideas work best when they're propelled by money.
Absolutely.
That reason will say that. And so I said, we have a deal with the Main Street director. He does the thinking, and we'll try to propel it with money. It's working out nicely, anyway.
So far. Yeah, it works out real well. The relationship between Main Street and the city is very solid.
Yeah, and that's and I don't see that changing. Well, Mike, as we go forward, looking to the future, none of us can see a second into the future, but as we continue to notch it up for Jasper, Foothills has become a really, really big thing for this city. Pre-COVID, probably drawing 30,000 people. I think last year they thought maybe 25 or a little more. And as we try to manage this project, and it's a major undertaking, it's a project that uses up close to $200,000 on Friday evening and Saturday evening, and that's a lot of money for a city of 15,000 people. And important to note that nobody owns Main Street because there's nothing to own. There's no intellectual property there. There's no stock. So the city just originated with the city, and our folks have been handling the production, and we said, it might make sense to think about moving this in the direction of Main Street, and assuming that they'd be receptive to such a move. And so we sat down right after the conclusion of Foothills in 2021. That was in September, and kicking idea around, and great progress has been made thanks to Mike and his staff and the folks here in the city that have worked on this. And Mike, we could spend probably the next hour talking about all that's going on, but do you mind sharing what you see, what we'll see this year, and what you think the future from Main Street might look like? And let me preface this. Main Street is going to be with us. There's not going to be any curtailments due to the lack of money, and what we do, the city will still be a significant source of funding, and I see a way of this thing even becoming bigger than it has been.
Yeah, well, what we're moving into now is, first of all, Foothills. Yes, we're taking a very active role. We've always been active in Foothills, but we're taking a more active role this year, and then next year, either Jasper Main Street will do it or an LLC of our building will do it. But it'd be the same people writing the checks, same people working. But other directions we're moving into some property acquisition. And all I mean by that is we're acquiring those properties that we want to control. And control just means we need the appropriate retailer in there or the appropriate restaurant in there. There are things that I know we don't need in downtown and things we don't need in Jasper at all. And I don't know this because I'm psychic. I just know this because I have a market analysis and I look at numbers. I can tell what we need and what we don't need. And so as we move into this, our next biggest project really is over by Scherer. Redeveloping, as the city moves on redeveloping Scherer, we are moving into redeveloping that part of the creek with a pedestrian bridge, getting rid of some of the vegetation, putting some things in the creek that will help flow easier, and just some general cleanup between 17th and 18th Street. That's the biggest next project coming up. And that's just in cooperation with the city because we wanted to, if the city is doing Scherer, we wanted to do our part to help the city.
Right.
And that's just something I know that we can do. I know how to do that kind of stuff. And so that's the next thing that's coming up. But again, just managing a downtown is, as managing a city, managing a downtown, it has its challenges. You have personalities that you just need to learn, which is okay. But that seems to be day-to-day operations. I can tell you, after teaching for 26 years and retiring at age 49, I knew I was going to do something. I didn't know this was what I was going to do, but it's a fun gig. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
I have enjoyed all of it, and I want to do it for as long as people want me to do it. That's how long I want to do it. I was pleased that that the council and the mayor allowed us to do that video because, again, if the city is not promoted, downtown is, you've got to promote the entire area and downtown. You can't, as the city goes, so does downtown.
No. Stepping back to Foothills, the 2 or 3 pieces of Foothills. One is musical entertainment that takes place on Friday evening and Saturday evening, and then all day, Friday afternoon and all day Saturday, the vendors, arts, crafts, that sort of thing. And Mike, I think you probably already know this, but I was talking with our folks yesterday as we are working to sign up vendors and that sort of thing, and the count on vendors is off significantly, and we've investigated why, and it seems the common theme is this, that people are spooked by what's going on in the economy. A lot of the trailers and stuff that out here full of vehicles that consume a lot of fuel. There's talk about fuel prices going to $6 a gallon, the uncertainty out there. So that is something that we can't control. It could change the look of Foothills this year. Like I said, it's fuel prices and people being spooked with the economy. We can't change that. But the entertainment and things that will go on as normal. But you could see our count in the way of vendors could be off significantly if things do not change. And I don't know of anything you do about that. You might?
No, the only thing you can do is you just realize that people come to Foothills primarily for the music.
Yeah.
Vendors are great, and they bring people in, of course, but it's a music festival.
Yeah.
And the vendors are there to to make money, and we're there to patronize them. But it's a music festival,
Yeah.
and that's going to stay the same. It's going to get better.
And the number of musical entertainers we'll have that number's up from the previous
That number
year.
is up, yes.
Yeah. So you'll see more stuff, but we'll work through, and it'll be a very good Foothills. But I felt like I ought to touch on what we're seeing in the way of vendors, and but hopefully that will improve. But again, what we're hearing falls beyond our control. Now, Mike, we'll wrap it up with this, and I've been asked this question and growing up, where you want to be in 10 years, and nobody knows that. Your outlook for Jasper and Main Street, and again, not to put you on the spot, over the next 3 or 4 years.
I think we continue with our biggest things. The biggest project is we started at Town Creek Park, and I think we go down the creek as close to the railroad track as we can get, redeveloping that, and that's our long vision. And the portion between 17 and 18 is going to happen pretty fast.
No.
And then we'll go south with the creek. The other thing that I think that you're going to see is, because we're getting involved a lot with Foothills and just more with the city, I think you're going to see an increase in the staff. There's me, and we already have one part-time person. I think you'll see an increase there. Again, I think that you'll also see this property acquisition growing more than maybe most main streets do. But again, it's all to redevelop properties so that people come downtown.
Yeah. Well, you'd hope every mayor in America filled with optimism about their city, and certainly I'm optimistic about this city. And even with a bad economy that's predicted right now, people don't stop living. It causes you to make decisions to look for ways that you can find a better value, get more mileage out of your money. And I'm not off base on this. There's a lot of value to be found in Jasper, Alabama. You compare Jasper to larger metropolitan areas, you get more house for your money, your cost of living is probably less. And as Mike pointed out at the outset here, our proximity to Birmingham has been very beneficial to us. And if people living in Jefferson County that spend more time driving, I won't say a greater distance because of traffic issues, and where they spend more time driving to and from work than they would spend if they lived in Jasper. So I really can't see anything that stands in the way of this city continuing to grow and to grow at a fairly rapid clip.
I'm with you. That's what we're trying to do.
That's
Just bring
right.
more people in.
Back what we talked about, notching it up for Jasper.
Absolutely.
Mike, thank you for joining me this morning, what you folks do, and we'll look forward to coming back, and we'll probably talk about foothills as we get closer.
Absolutely.
Good.
Lots to talk about there.
Good to have you with us, and as always, send us your questions, and we'll get you answered.